Hi, everyone. This is Monica Leal welcoming you to the LL Research radio program, In the Now, Q&A with Carla L. Rueckert. Today is September 28th, 2010. Carla L. Rueckert is an author, mystic, seeker, and primary channel for LL Research. Along with hosting the show, In the Now, Q&A with Carla L. Rueckert, I am the head moderator at the Bring Forth Forums. I'll be asking Carla questions that come from you. If you would like to ask Carla a question, please join the chat room on the webpage for In the Now at blogtalkradio.com/LLresearch. If you'd like to ask Carla a question live on the air, dial 347-884-8770 and press the 1 key on your phone when you're prompted by Blog Talk's automated system. When you call, you'll be able to hear the show, but you'll be on mute until I patch you through to Carla. Again, that number is 347-884-8770. When submitting questions, please remember this is a Law of One Q&A. Try to keep your questions as spiritually oriented as possible. Again, I'm Monica Leal, and I'm talking with Carla L. Rueckert of LL Research. You're listening to the worthy successor to last year's live chat on the Bring Forth website. We've gone for sound now, and we hope you like the improvement. Okay, now I'm going to see if Carla's there. Carla, are you there?
I am, Monica. How are you?
Okay, I'm doing great. I'm excited. This is our first show. Yeah. Well, we actually don't have any callers yet. Hey, you guys, don't be shy. Come on and call in. I know you're out there. But we do have some questions that were submitted on the Bring Forth Forum, so I thought I'd just start with one of those.
By all means.
All right. The first question is from Josh C., and he says, Hey, Carla, hope it's all going well. Before my question, a bit of background info. I've taken a step back from spiritual texts and spiritual teachings, such as the Law of One and David Wilcock's information, as I don't see them relevant to daily life. And in some cases, I've made them a bit of a hindrance to myself rather than a help, so I don't deal with them much. More recently, I've gotten into the conversations with God information, and I find it pretty helpful. My question to you is, what advice do you have for someone like me, a wanderer who's well aware of the concepts of 3D illusion, yet doesn't care to indulge in spiritual information? As an aside, I meditate and pray almost daily. I reflect often, if not always, on events that happen during my day, and nearly always forgive and express what some would refer to as 4D love in daily life. Namaste.
Namaste, Josh. Thanks, Monica. And Josh, thank you for writing in. It's a multifaceted question, and I'll do my best to respond to the various facets. Monica just said that this is a Law of One question and answer show, and so as you know, my answer is going to be somewhat oriented towards the material in the Law of One. Now, the material in the Law of One basically says that everyone, wanderers and earth natives and people from who knows where, all people that are on earth today in the tribe of humankind have one basic job here. We are uniquely equipped to be a point of contact between the infinite realms of time-space and the very specific local space-time of planet Earth. We have the ability to pull in the love and the light of the one infinite creator and to hold that light, to make the space for that light to flow into this world. So as a wanderer, you came here to lighten the consciousness of planet Earth, which you do basically by doing the inner work that you are doing, by meditating, by meeting the silence however you can, and spending time with that creator who speaks in silence, and then allowing that love and light that are flowing through all of us all the time in an infinite supply to come pouring through the stained glass windows of our personality and out into the world. The fact that some people like to study and some people don't, and some people have seasons where they study and seasons where they're burnt out, is not really relevant to the basic purpose of holding the light. You can study until you're blind, and if you are not loving and allowing people to love you back, then you don't have a clear energy body, you're not pulling love through in full power, and you're not able to hold the light. So back away from whether or not you're studying and what you're studying, and just realize that as long as you hold the light, you're adequate. You're doing just fine. You're ready to graduate at any time. A heart full of love, eyes of love, words of support and compassion. Those things are the things that will constitute your most basic service, which is basically passive radiation of light. Now, as to what you study and when you study, you need to follow the path of resonance. Just because you've read the Law of One and you understand the concepts of the Law of One, you have no reason to cling to the Law of One over all things and stop studying. If it resonates to you, use it. If it doesn't seem to be relevant to daily life, by all means move on. I find it endlessly relevant to my life. And obviously it was channeled through me. It is very compatible with my basic being. So why wouldn't I find it compatible with everything in my life? I've been studying it since I channeled it, and I still find new things in it. And I think there are some people that would probably agree with me. There are other people that can study it for a season, and then they've had it. They've had what they can take from it, and they need to move on. And I encourage people like you and people like them to move on by all means without a second glance, because the eternal wisdom is out there. Those of Ra are not the first ones who suggested the various concepts of it: unity, free will, love, and light. The basic principles of the Law of One are those. You can find them in different arrangements, in different cosmologies, in philosophies, and in religions all over the world. So trust yourself. Trust your feeling for resonance, your discernment, your powers of discrimination, and don't let anyone tell you what it is that you should be studying or when you should stop your search. Start and stop your search strictly according to your own light, and rely upon yourself. Have faith in yourself and love yourself. And as you love yourself and have faith in yourself, you will find that you are able to have faith in and to love others, and that you will be endlessly helpful to them just by being who you are. Monica, do you think I missed anything in that question? Is there a follow-up, you think?
No, I don't think you missed anything. That was pretty thorough. I think you definitely answered his question. I have a follow-up, and being that we still don't have any callers yet, I think I'm going to go ahead and ask that follow-up. I was curious how you. Well, two questions. Number one, how do you differentiate between the Law of One and, say, a religion? And secondly, how do you integrate your chosen religious path, being mystical Christianity, with the Law of One?
Well, I differentiate the Law of One from any sort of religion because it isn't any sort of religion. It's a philosophy. It is very obviously not a religion. The spirituality, which is part and parcel of the Law of One, is always very carefully, neutrally languaged. The language used for God, for instance, is the Creator, which is about the most neutral term you can find for the Creator. There is no desire on the Ra's part or on the part of any of the Confederation entities of which Ra is one to glorify themselves. Ra calls itself a humble messenger of the Law of One. And there is no attempt made to have people believe anything. There is no dogma. The first principle of the Law of One, or the first distortion, as Ra always calls it, away from unity, is free will. And you will not find in dogmatic Christianity or any other world religion primary reliance on free will as a principle. You will find a primary reliance on some sort of dogma, some sort of system of belief. Ra rather talks about faith. And faith is not faith in anything. Faith is just faith. Faith is a faith that all is well, that in the face of what obviously is not well, all is well, and all will be well. That is not a religious belief necessarily, and it has often been phrased in religious terms. But the Law of One is definitely not a religion and not a cult of any personality. And I have resisted any efforts, and Don before me resisted all efforts to make of us, ourselves, any kind of a cult of personality. On my watch, that will not happen. How I deal with the Law of One and my own mystical Christianity is very simple. If you read the Law of One, if you read especially the beginning sessions, when those of Ra are attempting to make the best possible situation for me, they create an altar for me in the room in which we do the working. Now, it's not their altar. It's mine. And on that, they put the elements of my faith, a candle, incense, the Bible, and a chalice that holds water that has been blessed, not by a priest, but by those in the circle around me. Jim and Don were those in the circle around me. And at the end, I would drink the water that had been blessed with their love, and it would help me to make the transition back to wakefulness. I had a little gold cross around my neck, and those of Ra were very, very careful to remove all metal from the room, except my gold cross. They wanted me to have the gold cross because it was part of my faith, and it would reassure me. So there was nothing of religion in what was coming through me, but there was all possible free will given to me to comfort myself with the elements of my religion in those workings. The raw material and the Confederation material in general is a big barn, and Christianity fits under it with enormous acreage to spare. All religious systems, all philosophies, all ways of seeing the truth, seeking the truth, holding the truth in your heart are completely accepted by the Law of One. They expect each of us, with our own free will, to distort the home truths of the Law of One, the unity, the love, the light, the polarity, the power and the peace in our own ways. And as they say, there are no mistakes. There may be surprises. So my way of seeking the truth and of comforting myself with my faith and bolstering myself against the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune in the day-to-day world is perfectly acceptable to the Law of One, as would be a conservative, dogmatic religion or no religion at all. Does that answer your question, Monica? Or
oh,
do you
yeah,
want to answer
yeah.
further?
Well, so what I'm hearing you say is, if you had, for example, been a Buddhist or a Hindu or pagan or whatever, rather than a mystical Christian, then perhaps Ra would have encouraged other things in the room or whatever would have made that person comfortable. In other words, work with whatever your particular background is.
That's right.
Okay. Wonderful. All right. Well, I have another question. Well, before I ask that question, the other question, I just want to mention, if anyone's calling in, you can listen to the show from your phone, but if you wish to join the show, there's a way to do that. And you know what? Since this is our first show, I'm not even sure what that way is, but I believe the recording will tell you when you call in that if you want to join the show to press a certain key, probably push 1 or something like that. So I'm just letting you know. Was it 1 that they have to push? Okay.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Okay, great, because we do have a caller that's listening, but if you decide you would like to join the show, just push 1, and that'll send a flag to us to let us know to unmute you, and then you can ask your question. Okay, I'm going to take another question from the Bring Forth website, and this is from our veteran member, Peel Street Guy, and he says, "Hi, Carla, I hope you're feeling better by the day. My question is this. I live in a big city and often wish I could live in the country where I think I would find more peace in my life. I've grown tired of being around so many people all the time. I have in-laws, neighbors that I have to deal with all the time. I've shown great patience in dealing with them, but I've had enough of them. I do not agree with how they treat their children and their pets. It hurts me all the time watching their deplorable behavior, but I can't say anything ever because they become very angry and defensive. See you then."